Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever I'm finding you here today. Welcome and thank you for coming and joining me here on this, the final one of the Demystifying Cyber Security. I'm taking cybersecurity topics that are of interest to small business owners, and I'm trying to explain to them in a simple way, in simple terms, that they can understand what the risks are. My name is Liam Lynch. My business is L2 Cybersecurity Solutions. We live to the motto, Security Simplified, and that is my way of trying to keep a scary technical topic like cybersecurity simple and easy to understand. I talk in a plain, simple language. Don't try and use any jargon to scare people away. So October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and as part of that, I'm running this is the reason I'm running these sessions. And it's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, but really every month should be Cybersecurity Month, because the cybersecurity only happens all year round. The theme for this year's Cybersecurity Month is Think Before You Click. They're trying to get people to, if you get an email or a message that tries to get you to do something urgently, or puts you under pressure to respond, they want you to stop, pause, and don't click the button just yet. Think about, could it be genuine or not? So think before you click. So I have been running these sessions every week at Tuesday at 2 p.m. All the previous sessions are available on my YouTube channel there. If you want to go back and watch the previous ones, they're all there available. And this will be also is being recorded and will be available later today. So I also do a weekly post every Friday on all my social medias, where I do a short 2-minute video called Weekend Wisdom, where I just talk about a specific topic just briefly for 2 minutes. And that's where these sessions came out of. You can't really get into much detail with those kind of topics in 2 minutes. So that's where I came up with these longer form videos to help people understand the risks that are out there. Now, please, if you want to ask me any questions at any time, please put them into the chat there beside the video, and I'll answer them towards the end. So we're talking today about incident handling or data breach handling, incident response, and the main points we're going to cover today are, why do you need an incident response plan or a data breach handling plan? When should it be invoked? What are the steps that are involved in it? And for some bonus material, as I promised way back at the start in the first session in October, when I talk about ransomware, I'll be talking about some specific steps to help deal with a ransomware incident. So that's the agenda. So why do you need to have an incident response plan or a data breach handling plan? And when you're staring at a screen that's got a ransom message, it says, we've locked all your files, pay us Bitcoin to, get your files back. You don't want to be figuring out what the hell should I do next when you're looking at that screen, because you're going to make mistakes, you're going to rush things, and you're going to try and play it by ear. That's never a good place to start when you're in a crisis mode. You should always have a plan sitting there ready to go that you can consult and just follow that through religiously. So you don't want to miss some important steps that you should have taken after the fact. So that's why you need to have it. And there's also, it may not just be you. Even in a small business, there might be other people involved that you might need to rely on. So the plan will be able to highlight to them, they have some responsibility here too, that you might need to bring them in if it's a significant enough plan. This could be your IT support people, or a PR person, or somebody who can help you communicate with the Data Protection Commission, for instance. So everybody needs to know what they need to do, and that's what will be set out in the plan. And so what's in the plan should be followed religiously, but it's a good idea to maybe test the plan occasionally. If you've got some time, sit down with the people who are involved and just kind of run through a scenario, just to see, does the plan still fit? Does it still work? Is there any gaps in it that may need to be plugged? So that's why you need one. It's just there in the event of an emergency. So then, when should it be invoked? And some people might be thinking, if I've got a very minor incident, somebody sent an email to the wrong person with an attachment with some data in it, that's not really a major enough, big enough incident really to justify activating the plan. But the plan is there for a good reason, and it's even for the minor stuff, you need to you'll see when we talk about the steps that are involved in it. But at the end of the execution of going through the plan, you will figure out was there something that's missing? Is there some flaw with our processes or procedures that caused this to occur? And is there some change that needs to be made? So it's always a good idea just to, even for the minor stuff, to follow through on the plan. And the plan basically should be invoked as soon as the data breach or the incident has occurred. And for the minor stuff, for that misdirected email, there's no need to make a big drama about it. It can be dealt with reasonably quietly, probably. No need to be getting all the people out of their beds to deal with it. But really, when it gets to the more intermediate or more critical incidents, that's where you really need to know to bring in those people and get them out of there. So just a quick reminder, any questions, please feel free to put them into the Q&A, into the chat there on the side of the video. So now, what are the steps that you need to follow through with the plan? Because a plan is there, it's a set of steps that you will need to follow, and they're there in a kind of a logical progression. So the first one is the incident report and initial assessment. And the incident report would usually be somebody will need to maybe fill out a wee form, or they'll ring up the person who does the handling of the data breach or the incident. But it's always a good idea to get them to fill in a form. It's good discipline to be able to record the incident, and then the person can initially assess, see how significant this is. Is it only a minor thing, and they can just go ahead and deal with it quietly, or do they need to bring it up to the intermediate or more critical levels where they need to get more people involved in it? So that's always you have to set out what are the risks, what are the exposure here, how many people do you need to get involved. Then you go through the kind of important one of containing the incident and recovering from it. So that's then getting into stopping whatever is happening from happening, and and then trying to put things back into a business as usual flow. So and that could this plan would not be very specific on this particular action. You would need to have your business continuity plan, or your IT disaster recovery plan would tell you the specific steps that you need to take to contain something and recover from it. So you would consult those documents. The next step then is that you need to assess the risk from the incident. So what has occurred here? Has there been data exposed? Is that personal data belonging to some of your customers? Do you need to, is that sensitive personal data? Was it encrypted? Or what? What is the risk that occurs from this? Has the company lost intellectual property? Top secret information that might be only of import to your competitors. So you have to then just figure out what's the risk here, and then that will take you to the next level where you need to talk about notification. So that's the next step, is the notification stage, where if you've lost people's personal data, you possibly want to be notifying the Data Protection Commission, and perhaps then also the individuals themselves. So, and there are specific timelines for notifying the Data Protection Commission. You need to notify them within 72 hours of the the data breach, and it's and you don't have to have the whole story for them within that 72 hours, but you do not need to notify them as far as possible as what you know within that time limit. But there might be other people you need to notify. Like if a crime has been committed, you need to get law enforcement, call the Gardaí. They need to be notified. And I'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. So after you've done the notifications, you then finish off. The final step in the plan will be the evaluation phase. And, really, this is where you go back and you figure out, whether there has been, how was the incident handled? You're looking at now the handling of the incident rather than anything else, but just to see what had occurred. Is there anything that you could do better that would prevent that from ever happening again? So that's what you want to do. You want to see, you want to improve. You want to learn from the mistakes that were made. That's most important. So that's the whole thing with incident response and data breach handling. So those are the main things. So just to cover off the bonus material of handling ransomware incident. This wouldn't be something that was separate to your to the whole this incident handling procedure, but there are some specific steps that people might think that there's a way of dealing with when you get hit with ransomware, which there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I just want to bring it to light what is the correct thing you should be doing if you get hit with ransomware. So a lot of people have assumed that if you get hit with ransomware, you pay the ransom, you get the key, you decrypt your data, you get your data back, you're back in business, and you move on. And maybe you might think, oh, I made a mistake there. I should have backed up my data really, and I should have done that better. So you might take another backup of your data that you might not repeat. That's how a lot of people seem to think you deal with ransomware, but it's not. And there's a big reason for this, and it's the four-letter word GDPR, because the GDPR defines in Article 412. It defines that a data breach is a breach of security leading to the unlawful alteration of personal data. Now, that's kind of a paraphrased, but that's effectively what 412 states. So if you have ransomware that hits your systems, that scrambles personal data, you've got a data breach under the GDPR. And it's not just a case of paying up and hopefully everything will be fine. You need to deal with this correctly. Now, for small businesses, it's some of the best way to handle it is probably a step too far. So I'll give you kind of the basic stuff that you need to do really to handle it for small businesses. And I'll also outline the state-of-the-art stuff that you really need to do to handle a ransomware incident appropriately. But the basic stuff, the first thing is you have had a crime committed against you. These guys are criminals. You must call the guards, call law enforcement, get the report put into them. They can, they may not be able to do something immediately for you, but they will investigate, they will share data with their international colleagues to go after the criminals who operate in these foreign countries. So please always report crime to the guards, including ransomware and any other kind of cybercrime. It is crucial that you do so. So first thing you should do then when you're looking at the screen saying your files are all locked, consult nomoreransom.org. It's a completely free facility where a lot of ransomware software has been cracked by the good guys, and you might be able to get your data back from them. So you might be able to consult those. You might need to get your IT people to help you with that, but they may, you might be able to get your data back for free. But if there's no way that you can recover your data other than paying, then you'll have to pay. There may be other consequences from this. There are some of the laws in Europe are changing. They're going to go after and they're sanctioning some of these criminal organizations. So you might actually be breaking the law by paying the ransom. But if you're really stuck, if your business is going to go under, otherwise, I reluctantly suggest you pay, but I really am reluctant to say that. But then you need to, when you get your data back, you decrypt your data, the first thing you should do is check that data, make sure it is back fully correct. There is no corruption in it. That's really crucial. It'll take time, but should do it. Then you need to take a backup of that data and make sure the backup is good. And then you should wipe and factory reset any device that was affected by the ransomware. Put them back to from scratch, as if they were brand new machines. Might need to reinstall them or whatever. And not even the ones that were affected, maybe all the other devices in your network, because you never know, the criminals could still be in there. They could still be residing in your network. So a clean wipe of the whole system is really called for, because you want to keep them out. Then when you've got everything reset, restore the data back onto things, and then make sure you've got good back. If you haven't had good backups before, put in place good backups now, because this will keep you going, keep you protected down the line. And then finally, you should really make sure if it was the bad guys got in from an email being sent in and links being clicked or attachments being opened, that you need some staff awareness training that the staff should be trained up to look out for these dodgy types of things. Now, that's for the ransomware that gets in through email and things. If the bad guys are getting in through other means, maybe through a remote access, they may already have taken a copy of your data, and they might be threatening you, with that. They might release that data again in the public domain. Again, take the advice from the law enforcement about how you should handle that situation. It depends on what data you have exposed. If your data was properly secured and encrypted, the bad guys may not be able to release it. But again, you need to put in place good technical measures. But the best possible response to a ransomware incident, and this this will cost a lot of money. I won't, there's no doubt in this. I'm not going to lie to you. And it takes time and takes a lot of effort from specialized individuals. If you get hit with a ransomware now, if you have this is considering that you have good backups in place. If you're looking at the ransomware message, first thing you should do is disconnect your network. Just shut down all internet access and all internal access within the network. If you've got a router connecting you to internet and maybe network switches in your office, power them off, shut them down, just disconnect them so that there is no longer any network activity. No device can see each other. But don't shut down any of the affected PCs or servers. Leave them up and running, because then you need to get in people called digital forensics or incident response, DFIR, and these will come in. They will take forensic images of all the affected machines, and they will be able to go away and figure out what happened, how did they get into your network, what data have they stolen, what have they done, have they left themselves hiding on some of the other devices that are on the network. But this is something slow. They will do that. Leave them do that, their business of getting their forensic images, and they go off and do their analysis. And once that's done, you go again, you wipe all your machines back to factory reset, you restore your data, and you wait for the report from the DFIR guys or people, and they might tell you need to report personal data has been breached, so you need to contact the Data Protection Commission, and and maybe the individuals if there was a risk to them. And then again, finally, if it was a situation where the bad guys got in through an email or a dodgy link from a website, you need to train your staff. So that's the best way of handling it, because the digital forensics people, they really will, find out what really happened, and they'll give you a good report on all of that. So that's how you deal with ransomware. And if you have any questions on any of this stuff, please, the email address is on the description of this video. It's info@l2cybersecurity.com. Happy to take any questions after the fact. I don't see any in the chat there right now. So we'll go on to the conclusion. So I hope you have a better understanding here now of how to deal with a data breach and how to handle an incident, and also a bit more understanding about the consequences of a ransomware incident and how you should deal with those. I hope this whole sequence of videos have been informative for you, and you might have learned something from it. And as I say, be happy to answer any questions if you drop me an email. So thank you again for watching. Look out for the Weekend Wisdom videos on Fridays. As I say, hit the subscribe button here underneath this video or this live stream, or hit me up on, follow me on any of the social medias, the Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. You'll pick up the social media or the Weekend Wisdoms when I post them there. So thank you, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll hopefully not have to deal with any significant incidents in the near future. But now you know what you need to do. Take care. Goodbye.